What is up, work here? And today we're checking out a timed run of Atal D'Azar 24 Tyrannical. 24, 25. This is the point where you actually have to do this dungeon correctly. And by this dungeon, I mean the last boss. There is nothing to do in this dungeon except the last boss. And luckily, this group knows how to do it. And it does go pretty well, which is nice to see. This part, I think, is unnecessarily chaotic. I get it for time. Um, for it, for the record, for a 24 and a 25, and probably even a 26 a tall tyrannical, you don't have to pull these on the boss. It's it's I don't know. It's like a minute maybe saved. I mean, I guess it might have some buffer there, but when it goes like this, you're threatening a lot more going wrong, like resetting the boss. So I got feared. I have aggro on a bird. Like, this isn't worth it if it's gonna go like this. However, we do recover. Uh, I am by far the lowest IO in this group. Must have been a hard night trying to find some DPS. That I'm accepted into this 24 pug. Everyone else, I think, well into the 3200s at this point, something like that. So, you know, everyone's professional here and can recover from this type of thing. Did cost me a bubble, but again, Razan's a pretty long fight, so I'll probably get it back. There is one hairy moment here, which, you know, it's probably my fault. We'll get to it when we'll get there. However, this dungeon is pretty forgiving. Our tank wants to call it quits at one point, I think, but having done many Atal D'Azars this week, I don't know. I'm just kind of like this dungeon. I like doing the spider fight. Um, this dungeon's pretty free. I've wiped twice on a boss and still timed a 23, I think. So it's obviously like tighter and tighter. Where you can't start to do that, but it's definitely not the 24 tyrannical where you're gonna have a trouble. Even with one wipe to a boss, it's like still kind of doable. So we're doing the run around here. I could probably fast forward this, but I will say something I've learned about Rhett um, is that our Divine Toll talent, one of them, shoots an extra judgment every second for 5 seconds. And that is actually a really big, important thing I never quite noticed. I would just kind of send Divine Toll and just not really pay attention to how it was proccing. And it's actually like my newest min max, and it's actually just how you actually properly play your rotation as Ret. But I've never heard anyone talk about it before, so I'll be making my Retribution Paladin guide. Not that it's a very difficult class, but there are a couple nuances, and I have my UI set up in the way that I like it now with the buff showing up. And I have seen an increase in my DPS as well, with like not any, massive gear updates. It's really just understanding how Ret works. I think with like a 489 weapon, of course the legendary would help, and a tiny bit more gear. I'm still kind of wearing like Holy Paladin gear from the raid, but with a little bit more gear, I think Ret Paladin sits at like around 185 single target. With the Lego maybe like a little bit more, and it does require, of course, the optimal rotation for single target, which is a tiny bit more nuanced than I thought it was leading up until now. And it is on the many, many fights with bosses in this dungeon, specifically in Everbloom, where they feel like 10-minute raid bosses or like they're 8-minute single target fights. You start to look at min-maxing the single target rotation. So I'll eventually be making my guide on it. The mage asks why it's always them, like every single time. And to my understanding, that when Razan picks who he's going to pursue, he's going to pick uh, randomly between the two furthest characters or players, not even range necessarily, just how physically far you are. So I always make it a point to run as fast as I can to the dragon after the fear cast, because if I'm close, it means I get to have uptime. It doesn't appear that we wait a minute. Wait a wait a hot minute. I'm seeing two shadow meld icons at the bottom for the mage and the demon hunter. Were those not used? Were they not shadow melding? Or was it really paying attention? So the tank pulls a fast one, and I think I don't know what happened over there. I think they pulled like a stalker real quick, and we're here. So you wouldn't guess it. The way that that first pull went is kind of like if I couldn't bubble that and then bop in like I would have been dead and I guess a res would have been used. We don't know if anyone else has a res. I'm not sure anyone else. That's my bad. I think I missed that kick. Um, I don't know if there is another res in this group. Okay, we're letting a mantle go off. Like this has been, you know, not a great beginning to an Atal D'Azar, but this is not the problem. None of this matters. This could be a full wipe here. Shouldn't be. But even if it was, it's like, whatever. Really, really not a problem. It doesn't bode well for the hardest part of this dungeon. But yeah, the beginning, bit of a clown a little bit of clown car show there. I'm just doing single target to this one mob in the back. But all of this doesn't matter at all yet. Charging through the Sanguine. Okay. And whatever. Let's finish this up. Uh, None of this really matters, honestly. This entire dungeon up until then is like, yeah, we're doing AoE damage. It's literally all spiders, and somehow this group can actually get it done. Also, again, it must have been a slow night to let the barely 3k the barely 3k IO Ret Paladin in the group. I think Ret Paladin might be relatively well regarded as I am sitting next to a Havoc and a Frost Mage who are both. I guess it's really Fire Mage that's kind of meta right now, but for bringing a Lust class, if you have your Holy Priest, which is not the meta necessarily, it's Disc Priest normally, but Priest in general has Fort, must have enough healing, and I guess Holy's doing well enough in keys. But to have a Ret Paladin as I'm pugging, my goal is roughly to do all the 25s. If I go past it, that's cool, but I just want to kind of do all the 25s Fort, all the 25s, the little aggro, all the 25s Tyrannical. I don't know. That's kind of my goal for this season. And then anything past that, of course, like BRH and like maybe, well, honestly, this place 26. It's like, yeah, probably not a huge difference. But that's kind of my goal. And Ret Paladin will not Havoc is at least regarded well enough that I can actually get into keys with my kind of like mid. I would say now that I'm trying to get into 25s and 26s, I would basically say a low IO of like 3,000 or maybe 31 in the next week or so. Kind of low for the pugs. They're a lot of people pugging 24s or 3,300. So uh, I'm kind of low compared to that. But luckily, Ret Paladin looks like we're like okay. Um, we're not like gonna beat a Havoc or something like that. But I've seen, looking into this pug, I was like, okay, who let me in? And I'm basically replacing an Og, where you would normally have like Og, Havoc, and a Mage, or maybe like Og Havoc, Boomy, or Og Havoc, Outlaw. I've been seeing a lot less rogues, to be honest. I started off the season with like a lot of rogues, and I haven't really seen one, or I haven't seen too many, as many as I thought there would be. I thought it would be like all Outlaw, but um, again, it's not. It's anecdotal. Like a full, an outlaw rogue playing perfectly. It depends on the dungeon too, because they're target capped. But like an outlaw rogue playing perfectly and with like the right gear, do incredible single target is where I usually lose to an outlaw rogue. But in AOE, it's not common for me to lose the DPS race with an outlaw rogue, mostly because they're capped. So if there's like these huge pulls, it's like no, I can usually sit in like the 1.5 million or something like that, and outlaws can't usually get there. But I have seen outlaw rogues do 300k DPS single targets, so something spicy is going on over there. That's the first time I've ever pulled the trash onto that top balcony. I've never been there before. I found that rather exciting, considering that I've done this at Atal D'Azar like a million times. I've got aggro. This is what it means to be a ret, is that you can have aggro against a tank. Now, this tank does very low damage. I wonder if they're playing cheat death. The the Vengeance Demon Hunter I play with does is like every pull is like minimum 200,000. So for me to pull threat against this Demon Hunter is pretty odd for me, because like I said, the Demon Hunter the Demon Hunter tank I normally run with. Yeah, it's like impossible for me to pull threat if they're like actually doing, if they've if it's not like before the group is rounded up. So I kind of psych out the demon hunter here. I think is who that was. I was like, we didn't really like. This is always tough without comms. Is like, which one are you gonna do? I should have during the last poll in a pug been like, oh, I'm gonna go get the far one. That's normally where I go. So I screw this up, I guess. I think I basically having kind of like awkward amounts of uptime because like this dude's jumped on it. This is the third time it's jumped on it. So I just like don't have the uptime that I should. Um 40 38. So how does this go so wrong? So I'm okay, so again I have to walk away from this thing. I do have ranged. Um okay, who's ever doing that when it's 7% needs to chill. Who is hitting that thing? I think it's the elemental. I think that mage's elemental is like kill that totem. Like uh, uh, that was just done wrong. Like wait till everyone's in like you want to get to like everyone being like 15%, everyone get to 10%, and it's only when everyone's in like single digits can it's like okay, send it. But I think that water elemental was just kill that totem. Um, I really don't think that that's my fault. Like other people have to slow down. So anyway, it was my totem that didn't die on time. But also don't end your totem's life when someone else is like 15% or whatever. Right there, the tank tried to call it. They said dead key. I think it is certainly not not at all. You'll see by the end of this run if you're running keys about this level again. It is not even close to over. We could probably start this boss literally from scratch, which I guess we kind of just did, and it would be completely fine. I can say timer wise, we're gonna have like 4 or 5, maybe 4 minutes, 3 minutes left on this right now if we don't die to Yazma, the real boss. Okay, so we basically almost started that boss over. The only difference is we didn't like actually die, because obviously dying and wiping, doing a full wipe costs time. That's a little worse. I still bet maybe not now, but in that beginning, I've done runs where people have done certain things and died fairly early into this boss. Full run back, still timed it, still fine. So I really don't think it's probably until like the 25, maybe 25, 26, maybe it's just 26, 27 to be honest. Where like, yeah, you can't wipe. But this place is pretty free timer wise. That's what's nice about it. Unlike Rise, basically. Rise isn't even that hard. It's really just like there's just a lot of single target bosses that take a long time to kill. And if you screw up anything time wise there, yeah, then it's over. Just from a time perspective. Obviously, I guess that's what the mid keys or the mid 20s are kind of about. It's like starting to get your time optimizations. The routes have to be right. You have to be using lust and cooldowns at the right time, etc. It makes a little bit more of a difference. But that's what makes it all free, quote unquote free. One of the easiest ones is the timer is really pretty forgiving, but the last boss is not. I've had um, a lot of time to think about Yazma. I've done Yazma so many times. Ellesmere tweeted earlier in the season that Yazma is the most talked about boss that's ever, especially of this season. It's like the number one thing that people talk about. It's one of the like low key hardest bosses this season at all. It's just very unforgiving if you don't do the spiders right. And people have different concepts on how you should tank Yazma and what the DPS should be doing. However, from what I've seen, there is only one right way to tank her. What the hell? And there's only one way for the DPS to actually live it. Um, if the healer has enough gear and knows what they're doing, you can actually eat all the poison on that last one and it's completely fine. I wasn't really paying attention, but I can certainly feel that like certain healers, you really, really need to be careful with the poison I'm dispelling and I'm like sacking, I'm like land handsing during it. And wait, did the demon hunter die or something? Where's the other demon hunter? Did he get like double shot by the blast? That does hurt. Um, are we holding? I'm holding my DPS for this. I guess that's okay. That's not usually the move, but this pack's kind of dying. I don't know. I didn't feel like sending it on this. I probably could have. It was technically a double pull. I just didn't want to. You could tell the demon hunter is hauling ass now. He's thinks it's a dead key, wants to make up for it. He must not run this enough because it's certainly not. I know for a fact this is still timeable. Now Now, who hodged the bird? Which one of the characters here hodged that bird in Sanguine? I think it was the other paladin. It was the other paladin in the key. Oof. Okay. But I'm at least being responsible, staying back there, kicking and cleaning it up here. Um, I think that's mostly what this is about. Like, I always want to pad on the swords, but like, I'm not even using cooldowns. Like, it's not worth divining tolling these. It's not worth avenging wrathing any of these. It's not worth, of course, using final reckoning. I'm gonna babysit the bird, babysit it till it dies. Let everyone else go AOE. That's fine. I don't care. I don't mind. Let's kill this bird, and not let it fear us, because that would be even that. Honestly, it's evading. Nice. I was gonna say, even if we wiped here, like accidentally pulled the middle, and we're like, screw this, like just everyone die, we'd still time it. You're allowed one massive mistake here, generally, that I've seen. I think the Demon Hunter jumped off the bridge. That's not the first time I've seen that. It is definitely not the first time I've seen the tank float off the side. Pro Paladin would die if he jumped off the side, but I don't think we're jumping around, scooting around as much. So, again, this entire dungeon is just a cute game up until Yazma. Um, so looking forward to kind of rewatching this. As of recording this voiceover, I like just did this key. We like just did it. I was like, oh god, like finally a group that knows how to do this, and we have a recording of it. Just makes me feel better, and I also get to review it. It doesn't go perfectly, but it does go well. It is the proper form, um, and quite necessary if you're gonna try to get like a 27 of this time or something like that. People can't be like figuring out how it works. It has to go like perfectly the entire time, and it's a pretty long fight too. I do appreciate having a mage though, having someone ranged. And mage is very nice because they don't really get cornered by the spiders. They can just blink right over them or shimmer or whatever. It's like that's certainly helpful. They get get out of jail free card, and so does the demon hunter too. Demon hunters can kind of jump over them, which is a little sketchy, but they can do it. Then there's me, the slow paladin. But you may notice, has no one died? Like, I don't think we've battle resed anyone. But anyway, I am the only battle res here, and we need it. And we'll say there's Paladin's role in general. Obviously, after the Paladin rework, they gave all Paladins a battle res, and we fill that necessary role rather well. That might be one of the major utilities I bring to this group. On top of I could do AoE damage, but like our single target damage is certainly not anything comparable to a Demo Lock or a Fire Mage or a Havoc or an exceptionally good Outlaw Rogue. I've seen some kind of like mid Outlaw Rogues where I'm like, I'm doing fine, and I bring like way more utility to the keys here. I think I get like a ton of infusions on me. And I remember just like I think that's this guy just like run through all the bloods. I get infused like 10 times or something. Yeah, there's one. Oh, I think it got stunned though. Anyway, it's like, am I in infusion? Am I in sanguine? I don't know. Some of these are good, some of these are bad. It's certainly that weak. This is all cosmetic, super cosmetic. I was surprised. Oh, I'm still like dying. Thank you to our priest for healing me. I was surprised we were pulling these. This is a bit of a bonkers route. Um, it's been fine though. The priest whose key this was would not let the tank start until they saw the route, and the route it's a weird one. It's kind of an odd one there. It's cool. I've seen mages do this. The mages can sit behind the Ring of Frost, and it stops the Juggernaut charges at them. Pretty cool. This group pretty good at actually stunning them before they kill anybody. It's been okay. So let's see how this goes. All cooldowns up. I don't know about my trinket. My trinket's just trinketed. It just goes with Avenging Wrath there. So it happens sometimes. It doesn't others. And yeah, we're not a demon. We're not a demo lock, and we're not a fire mage. So our single target is not like insane, but we have something there. And then it turns into not single target. Of course, we're cleaving off of the ad here, and we're getting the infusion. And this healer has been. I think this is everyone again. Everyone here is like pretty reasonably high IO. I think like 3,200 something. So it's like I've never really feared for my life yet in this dungeon. This healer is pumping the heals like at the right time. So I'm not even. I don't think I've like it was mostly like, well, like if the tank didn't have aggro, that's happened a couple times here. I've like bopped myself and bubbled. But some healers I can sort of tell before we get here is like, yeah, I'm gonna be blessing of sacrifice somebody, the squishy who's even squishy in this group, probably the priest. Them I probably would probably sack the priest. Everyone else here is very tanky. I'm sure the mage is using all of their crazy defensives, and I am if I use my defensives like pretty indestructible, and I can off heal like a lot, like an awful lot, which I've been testing on some of these higher keys here. Like if the healer dies, like how long can I last on the boss? Kind of fun. Um, we did go for this DC. Someone broke it. However, everyone knows what's going on here. Let's CC the last ad. That does work especially well on Tyrannical. I barely get that in time. And just to finish it off, we over DPS'd that boss. Everyone had like full single target cooldowns, I think, going into it. So we burned her down quick. You don't always. Priest died. It's pretty funny here that um, people died to the spiders on the stairs. People being me. People being lots of people. Every single person in my guild has died to spiders on the stairs. You just like misread it. And then people also died to the fire. Some of the best people I've ever played with, I've seen them die to a fire on the stairs. This is kind of just funny. Who said that? It was the tank, I think, said, please don't die to spiders. So, Mr. Tank, however, that is completely, honestly, up. He must have eaten a spider to be at that low health. It is entirely up to the tank to do this correctly. And it's up to them to dictate where we should go. I'll say that much. If the tank doesn't agree on how this strategy works, you're not timing it. The tank will live, but nobody else will. So it's tank lead, everyone else follows correctly. And we will watch how this goes. Okay, I'm getting racking pain, a little defensive, and we have our full target burst in there. We can like kind of get to 300,000, like kind of. And then very sad, we have a lot of uptime lost here. And we got to kill all the things. And look at all those purple circles. We see the purple circles there? If you stand on those, they will kill you. I do not know how many groups I have been in where people are dead already right now. It's like yes, kill all the ads. Lust is up. It's very fun. Don't die to the spiders that are spawning. First round. I'm telling you, first round people die. It is absolutely ridiculous. So tank is doing a good job pulling at this point. We're kind of in the middle, which is like a reasonable place to be. And everyone's together and we're baiting into this corner, hopefully. So this is what I can't get people to agree on, but like you bait into the corner behind the tank, right? So we're killing them. We spawn new ones, just kind of walking away, but yet we're still baiting all together, like just one behind the tank here. I think I'm pretty actively, if it ever goes on the priest, I'm going to sack, though they've been living quite fine. And again, we're all staying together and baiting here. So the difference, however, is I think they're going to ping it, is that this soul rend, we should stay in the corner behind the tank. I would even go to the corner back there, but the thing is, you don't go to the corner in front of the tank. We go to the one behind the back here, and we're baiting in, and there's going to be echoes. So we have to watch for the purple circles while we kill those and keep moving. I don't know why they said a no-no and someone dies. So this is where things normally start to unfold poorly. I am getting LOS'd. I can't res this person. We find a pretty safe spot here. This is a cheeky little spot here. It's hard for the spiders to path over. Pretty safe res, and we return to the dance. We have broken the pattern, however, and there's a purple on the floor. Not great. Racking pain on me, instant defensive. And here we are doing it again. This is the thing that has to happen, is the tank pulls ahead, we stay behind. I almost die. We stay behind here and kill them. It's getting a little bit bad, and then we need to keep baiting together, or it does not go. I'm getting racking pain again, and I bubble, so I can walk over this. And anything to help relieve our hard casting healer here, the better. So this is continuing to go well because our tank is continuously pulling ahead at the right time. And I believe it's the tank also dropping the markers here on where to go. On certain groups, I would consider doing the markers, but the tank, again, is sort of dictating the cadence. So everyone needs to get over here, and it seems counterintuitive, right? It's like, oh, the spiders are coming towards us. Let's go run away. That is not how this works. You stay behind where the spiders were. That does get you trapped sometimes. It can certainly happen. Mage just blinks out of there. But anyway, tank pulls ahead, we stay behind, and you spawn the spiders either on the boss and you pull away, or in the corner. It depends. If you have range, the range can obviously stay like a little bit further behind. But we're all trying to bait together into this corner here. Another racking pain. Am I going to sack? There it is, trying to help our healer out just so they don't have to, get distracted ever. And there it is. Look, the call to drop Soul Rend in the corner behind where the tank was. At the same time, the hard part is then managing don't get hit by the old spiders. That was a close one. And don't get hit by the new spiders. This is the only way to do this fight. I've seen other people do it at this level and higher. The approach is the same to all of them. The YOLO stand in the center doesn't work. And also pulling ahead does not work. I can just say from experience, saying from other people doing it, this is how it works. You need to drop the spiders in the corner while the tank pulls ahead. And the scary part is that, yes, this is going to happen. It seems like, yes, like it'd be like, okay, I guess we're going back here. That's a wild one. That's not how we're supposed to do it. But there are a lot of spiders. That was the decision. That's fine. We should have dropped it in that corner, but whatever. The call is fine and the boss is dead. But that is how you do Yazma. And it's pretty much it. It's led by the tank. If the tank does not do it that way, then we can't either. And everyone needs to stay together. However, everyone here, again, 2,200 or something, or 3,200. We got it done. I will see you on the next one. Peace.